Financial success right now is uncertain for a lot of people because the economy is uncertain. We have runaway inflation, political uncertainty, we have national debt, unfunded liabilities, all these things that are going on. The market is kind of all over the map, and I feel like a lot of people right now have more uncertainty about their financial future than they have had in a long time. What I want to talk about in this video is the idea of how to chase the actual results that you want in your life. Get outside of the paradigm of going to school, getting a job, investing in a 401k or IRA, that buy and hold mentality, ride the market's ups and downs. You're gonna see a lot of boom bust cycles. And so how does that impact you and what can you do about it? I'm a big believer, you gotta take control and grow to become who you want to be, to get the result in life that you want to achieve. The only way you're gonna do that is by utilizing and leveraging money as a tool to help you get there, but you have to grow in your understanding with that. And so I'm gonna show you in this video how by focusing on financial efficiency and control, you're gonna be able to put yourself in a situation where you can achieve your desired result that you want in your life more predictably, with the only variable in that success being you. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. This one is gonna be a fun one. We're gonna be talking about financial efficiency, and I'm gonna be busting, I think, a lot of paradigms that a lot of people have about money. If you watch this channel a lot, you know that I kind of beat the drum of control being the #1 attribute that we have with our money. Now, before I go any further, I do wanna say there's a caveat to this, right? Because control is not as valuable to all people. That's why I always kind of say you need to become who you need to be to get to where you want to go. And maybe control right now doesn't mean what it will mean for you in the future. You have to grow in your level of knowledge of and ability when it comes to real estate investing, when it comes to maybe operating a business, when it comes to just understanding and how to control a budget and cash flow and how to seek opportunities and how to prepare for opportunities. As you grow, so there too will the opportunities, but the opportunities are only going to be able to come if you have an opportunity fund and if you have the control of the capital to be able to take advantage of them when they're ready, once you grow into getting there, if that makes sense, right? And so in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about kind of the way people are taught about investing, taking risk to achieve long-term financial goals, why that's wrong, and how by shifting one little paradigm shift, it can change everything for you. And you can achieve your desired results, even better results than investing and getting all these returns and taking that risk to get returns to save for your financial future on a more predictable basis. In fact, you could do so on a guaranteed basis. The only variable in the equation is you and your willingness and ability to execute on a very pretty simplistic plan. So let's get into this. For this one, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the board and we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna do some math. We're gonna draw some things out. We're gonna have a conversation. So let's talk about traditional way of doing things, okay? Traditional. So the traditional way would be, all right, you earn 100,000 household income. I'm gonna do HHI for household income. And so the idea is you save 10%, right? So that'd be $10,000 that you invest, maybe a 401k, right? So what does that leave you? That leaves you with $90,000 of lifestyle expense, right? So, and that could be including your taxes and lifestyle. But make no mistake about it, your taxes are part of your lifestyle. When the government increases your taxes, that eats into your lifestyle, and that is what it is. And so you can't separate the two. So when you invest this 10,000, let's have a conversation about what that looks like. So when you invest that 10,000, let's go down here and we say, all right, you got $10,000. So what's the idea? The idea is they say, all right, if you invest 10,000, what are you trying to do? You're trying to go earn an 8% return long-term. That's, if you talk to most money managers, they're going to tell you that you can go get long-term. Now it's going to be up, it's going to be down. Some days you're going to have negative years, some years you're going to have bigger years. But at the end of the day, this 8% number is an average. Now, to that accord, what I want to do is I want to break this down, and I want to speak to something and show you how the average isn't accurate, right? So if you have $10,000, right, and the market goes down 50%, what do you have? You have $5,000. $5,000, not $50,000. So you have $5,000, okay? So that's year one. So year 2, the market, you're starting off with 5,000. And the market does a magical comeback of plus 100%. How much do you have? Yes, you're back to the $10,000 number. So the question is, what is the average rate of return? Well, most people would say, well, I started with 10,000, I ended with 10,000 over 2 years, and so that's a 0% average rate of return, when in fact that is the real rate of return. The average rate of return would be that you had a plus 100 year minus 50% year, that's 50 divided by 2 equals 25% positive average. That's what the average rate of return is. And so the real rate of return and the average rate of return are completely different. And this is a very extreme example that plays out to, obviously prove a point. But I could do this showing negative 10, plus 10, negative 10, plus 10, negative 25, or plus 25, negative 10, plus 15, negative 10. And at the end of the day, the average and the real are always going to have a difference in them on the negative side. So average rates of return don't really mean anything, and it makes it actually really, really hard to calculate what you're going to achieve on a long-term basis. For instance, I was talking to a client the other day who has over $1 million in qualified accounts, right? And he was saying that his investment advisor at UBS was saying, hey, you lost 18% last year. And he was trying to convince him that, like, you didn't really lose 18%, because if you look at how your money's done over the past 8 years, it's actually not been that bad. And he was saying, well, you actually had a 6%. Yeah, after the 18% loss, your average is 6%. Well, if you looked at what that number was before the 18% loss, it was pretty good. But the problem is that 18% loss is real, and it impacts every other year after that, right? And so, or every other year preceding that. And the numbers, once that happens, it makes it hard to catch up with the actual average, right? That's the difference between real and average rates of return. And so, with that said, I wanted to put that out there just so you had that knowingness and understanding about how this works. Now, in this situation though, let's just say the 8% is real, and let's say it can happen. That means you're taking on risk, because in order to get 8%, I think everybody alive understands that to chase that 8% return, you got to take on risk, right? And that risk means you could lose money. However, let's just say that leads to an $800 rate of return, because 8% of 10,000 is 800, and that leads to $10,800 in an account value. So it's crazy, because we took 10% of our income, right, of the 100,000, that left us with 90,000 left, but we took 10% of that. We take all this risk to try to get this 8% to earn $800. So we're risking effectively all this money to try to get this $800. And there's a significant amount of risk there. Now, what I encourage people to do is to look at it a little bit differently. I'm going to scroll this down, and we're going to work up here. So what I encourage people to do is say, all right, let's take this 10,000, and I think you should still do it. Take 10% of your income, save the 10,000. Instead of going after the 10,000, let's put it in a vehicle like whole life insurance, where you can earn 4% every single year. And in doing that, you're going to now wind up with 10,400. Now, this isn't going to be the way it works year one. Before everybody screams at me, you're going to actually be negative because there's cost of insurance. But in the long run, this is what it's going to average out to, and your dollars are going to be performing more than one function. And like, I've got a lot of videos on that. So I think you're going to keep up with me. If you're a subscriber to this channel, you understand what I'm talking about. But now what do we have? We look at this and we go, all right, we got this 10,000, but what about the other $90,000 that we had, right? So the other $90,000, we look at this and we go, all right, when I talk to people, I'm gonna pose a question to you. When I talk to people and I'm talking about their money, I'm talking about their debt, because most people are burdened with debt, right? Fair enough. Most people have a debt issue that they need to address, whether it's credit card debt, auto debt, higher interest, consumer debt, anything that's debt related to an asset that is not appreciating in value or creating cash flow for you, right? So most households have this kind of what I would call toxic or consumer debt, right? And so if I were to ask you, if you had 1% inefficiency, because I would consider every dollar that's being spent to service debt or spend money in any way related to inefficiency, and that can be going out, that can be lifestyle, that's above and beyond the means of your lifestyle. And what I would say to that is, you need to understand what you need to do to get to where you want to go. And if you don't have a clear picture on that, then my guess is you have leakage in your financial life, right? Because if let's say you have a goal of reaching financial freedom at 65, right? I would encourage you to think a little earlier than that. But like, let's say you're the average American that's thinking about 65, and you're thinking about like, how do I get there? And is this enough? Is this enough to get me there? And if the answer is yes, well then great. Then you can go spend all of this lifestyle expense, and it is what it is, and you're totally good. But if this isn't enough, or you don't know if it's enough, or you don't know what you need to do, then you need to start thinking about, what else do I need to do in addition to this? And most people feel helpless to be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish because of this, debt scenario that most people are living in. And so if I asked you if you had 1% inefficiency, money that you're losing or spending unknowingly and or unnecessarily, that is not getting you closer to your goals, that is holding you back from achieving your financial goals, do you think that you have 1% inefficiency? Almost everybody I know in the world says yes. Do you think you have 3%? Yes. Do you think you have 5%? Most people, once again, say yes. In fact, I find most people have up to 10% complete inefficiency, that they could recapture this 10% money that they're losing unknowingly, unnecessarily, and they could reposition this number to help improve their annual savings number without taking any risk. Because here's the deal. If we look at this and we just say 5%, 5% of 90,000 is $4,500, right? So what is this doing? Are we taking any risk by increasing our efficiency, by finding the money and recapturing the money we're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily on the debt, on the insurance payments that we're paying, making sure that we're making those more efficient, making sure that that we're leveraging credit cards and other assets in the right way to help us live the lifestyle we're living without taking on more risk if we're managing them properly, right? And so the question is, do you have that? And most people would say, well, I don't know, but 45% or 5%, $4,500, that's the equivalent of a 45% return on the 10,000 we saved. And how much risk did you have to take for that? The answer is none, right? What you did is you just increased the financial efficiency of your life. And it's gonna, when you save it in this way, right, and you put it over in this bucket, now you have, at the end of the day, if you were to do this scenario, you got $4,500, you got $14,900 at the end of the year. It's equivalent of a 49% return on this 10,000 when you combine the two together without taking any risk, right? And so it's not about the rate of return, it's about the result that you're after in your life, and making sure that you can't segment. You can't just draw this wall and say, oh, I'm gonna invest or save over here, and then I'm just gonna do whatever over here. All your money comes together, and it's all about how are you doing it efficiently as one pile, right? Because that really matters. And most people feel like they've gotten themselves in so much debt that they feel helpless and they don't know what to do. And that's one of the reasons that we created our debt elimination program. And you can go down in the link in the description below, and you can set up a free debt elimination consultation with one of our certified coaches that will help you get through that process and can help you get clarity to eliminate your debt faster, to increase cash flow so you can get over here and start building this picture even faster, right? That is what it's all about. And so the idea here is, by looking at this, I'm gonna take a step back, because maybe you're arguing with me and you say, Chris, I don't have $4,500 a year. I would encourage you to take a step back and say, if what you thought to be true about that turned out not to be true, when would you want to know, right? I would look at this and say, my guess is, and if you're making, 100 grand, got 90K left, my guess is you got $4,500 a year that is just being kind of lit on fire in different ways that you just don't realize. There's all these leaks in your financial life that you don't realize. But let's just say I'm wrong and you're right and you only got 1%. Well, the 1% is $900, right? That's still better than the 8% return that you're getting down here, right? It's still better than that number in this 10,000. And what are you doing to get that 8% return? You're taking on risk. So if you do nothing but improve the efficiency of your life by 1%, increasing that cash flow and doing this, you go 10,400 plus the 900, you're looking at $11,300, right? That's a 13% equivalent return with no risk, simply by shifting the money and increasing your financial efficiency. Now, is it a pure 13% return? Of course, no. The answer is no, right? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to BS you. That is not the way it is. But from a results perspective, does it really matter? You could go try to get 13% over here and not worry about the efficiency over here. And you're going to take on more risk and you're probably going to lose it and wind up with nothing. Or you can just kind of follow this plan and realize it all kind of comes together. And by looking at life not from a perspective of trying to chase big returns, but from a perspective of trying to increase efficiency, trying to grow to become who I need to be to get to where I want to go, and putting myself in a situation where I have more control of the results of my life by putting my money in a place that has the guarantees, that's going to perform multiple functions, that I can leverage for real estate investing, that I could leverage for business reserves, that will help create intergenerational wealth, multi-generational wealth, that's going to be ultimately able to be leveraged to be able to help eliminate debt in a faster way, right? And so there are all these different ways and tools that, you know, in the personal finance space. The part that drives me nuts is when people compare whole life insurance, when it's done properly, I will say, to any other kind of investment, right? Because it's not an investment, because it doesn't have the same risk profile as other investments. The bottom line is you can utilize it and it's going to make your other investments better. And it's just a financial tool that's going to help you operate more efficiently and do what I'm talking about. Now, the rest of it, the right side over here, as you're looking at it, you probably can't see, it's blurry right now, but as you're looking at that side of it is just human behavior. It's just you budgeting and you getting really, really clear on creating what I call a monthly profit loss statement for yourself and your family and your household, and making sure that you find the money you're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily. The goal is to recapture that money and position that money, not to spend it, not to like increase your lifestyle right now, but to increase your lifestyle in the future. And that's one of my favorite things to do for people. Once upon a time, people ask me what I did. I tell them I'm a financial efficiency coach, and this is exactly why. When you start doing this and you realize the power that this has and the control that it gives you over your life and how fast it can help you achieve the results in your financial life without taking on more risk. In fact, it gets you there faster. You get better returns effectively, simply dollars and cents without taking on the risk. It's really, really powerful stuff. And so hopefully you see it. So what I'd love to do is if this makes sense, in the comment section below, tell me if this makes sense. Just give me a thumbs up, give me an emoji, give me a trophy, give me something, because I think people need to hear this. People need to see this. If you know somebody that's struggling with that, share this out with them. Like the video, share it out, whatever it takes. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm doing videos like this all the time. The goal of this channel is to educate people on personal finances, all things personal finance. If you see this and you're thinking, Chris, that's great, I have more questions, comment in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer those questions. I'll make more videos elaborating on this. It's one of the things that inspires me to make the content that I make. So hopefully this made sense. Like I said, comment in the comment section below if you haven't. Subscribe, hit the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.